Yo, what is up guys, Ghost here, and today we're going to be discussing the class rework that is coming in Season 3 for Battlefield 2042. So we haven't heard much from DICE recently on this, but just now they've dropped a new blog detailing the steps that they've taken and the changes that the class system has gone through as they've iterated upon it. So firstly, one of the big mix-ups here is they're actually changing which class Crawford and Irish belong to. So originally Irish was an engineer and Crawford was a support specialist. They're actually going to be switching their roles. So Irish is much more suited to being a support specialist, right? He has the defensive shield that he can plop down. He also has the APS gadget that shoots down grenades, so it kind of makes more sense for him to actually be a support class specialist, and therefore he's now going to be able to revive other players. So instead of getting the class repair tool, Irish will now get the defibrillator as his class equipment. He's also going to receive Crawford's cash point trait, which actually resupplies gadget ammo if you revive somebody, since obviously Crawford can no longer revive, so he's not going to have anything to do with that. And of course, adversely, Crawford is now going to be an engineer. So what they thought is that with his minigun, which is quite an offensive piece of kit, he will be better suited to the engineer class. Now, that also means his class gadget is going to be the repair tool, and they haven't really figured out what his trait is going to be since the old one was tied into the revive mechanic, but what they're toying with is perhaps some sort of a limited function super repair, where he will become more effective at repairing vehicles under certain conditions, maybe if they're very low in health or something like that. I don't know, that remains to be seen. So this is basically what the classes look like overall. For engineer, you've now got Boris, Crawford and Liz. For recon, you've got Casper, Pike and Rao. For support, you have Angel, Irish and Falk, and then in the assault class, you have Dozer, McKay and Sundance. Now, some players also mentioned that Rao being a recon didn't really suit him as much as it would him being an engineer. After all, most players use Rao's hacking kit to actually take down vehicles, but really that's seen more as a disruptive ability rather than something that's actually going to be the end of the enemy, right? So he's going to continue to be in the recon category, but to help other players cooperate with Rao's hacking ability, they're going to do some changes to the UI, so it will be obvious when an enemy vehicle has been hacked by Rao, and then people who are running around and playing the engineer class can try and target that vehicle knowing that they have been rendered helpless. Okay, next up we have a new overview of the class loadout structure. So these are the weapons that you're going to be able to select with each class, and also the class equipment that you're going to get. So the assault class equipment is the med pen. For engineer, it's the repair tool. For support, it's the defibs, and for recon, it is the insertion beacon. I think those are some really great choices there. As an extra gadget, it's definitely going to be really nice to have any one of those for those specific classes. Now for the class gadgets, the assault class can take the smoke launcher, the armor plate, C5 explosive, or the claymore. The engineer can take the anti-tank mine, the recoilless M5, the AA missile, the javelin, or the EOD bot. For support, you can take the ammo crate, the med crate, the smoke launcher, or the claymore. And then finally for recon, you've got the tugs, the tracer dart gun, the claymore, C5, proximity sensor, and the SOFLAM designator. And then for throwables, these are mostly the same. So for engineer support and recon, you've got the frag, the smoke, the EMP, and the incendiary. And then for the assault class, the only difference there is that instead of the EMP grenade, you have the concussive grenade instead. Okay, let's talk weapon restrictions. So this has been a point of contention. Some people like the way of old that it was in the class system, where only certain classes could use certain weapons. You know, if you wanted to be a sniper, you had to play the recon class. But lots of other people, and I've experienced this myself and seen it from you guys on my channel, seem to like being able to equip any weapon on any class. So DICE essentially feel like it's a bit too late in Battlefield 2042's life cycle to go and start restricting all the weapons amongst classes. After all, a lot of people have gotten used to running with the same gun. Maybe they're trying to unlock that mastery skin. They just want to run with that gun, whatever specialist they're playing, or indeed whatever class they are playing. So they're not going to change which weapons are available to which classes. But what they are going to do is introduce a new system that will give specific classes a benefit to using a specific weapon category. So for example, the Recon class may have an advantage whilst using a bolt-action rifle that allows them to steady the scope whilst they're ADSing for longer than if you were using a sniper rifle with any of the other 3 classes. Now they don't really go into detail of which classes are going to get which perks for the weapons, but they do mention that, you know, the assault class, obviously being the assault class, are going to be skilled at using assault rifles. So you will still be able to use any weapon you like, but depending on what class you're playing, it's going to be advantageous to you to use a specific weapon from a certain category. Now alongside that, they've also made some changes to the UI, so this is a work in progress here, but you can sort of see what they're going for. So the loadouts are sort of gone now. Instead of having a loadout for each specific specialist, your loadouts are now going to be class centric. So if you've got the M5A3 and the G57 on your assault loadout, it doesn't matter if you switch from Sundance to McKay, you're still going to have those weapons. But if you switch to engineer, then you're going to have your engineer loadout. Now to go with all of these class changes, they're going to need a lot of new UI markers to donate who is playing what class. So they've updated the class icons to make it easier to understand the role of each class. So for the support class, they used to have an ammo icon, but they now have a health icon instead, making it easy to see if somebody's playing a specialist that is actually able to revive you. So instead of trying to look at the backside of the specialist and think, is that the behind of Falk? Is that Irish? Is that somebody who can revive me? You'll just see a plus above their head and you will now know that they can revive you. They're also working on new UI indicators for the class weapon proficiencies to help you identify which weapons your class will benefit from using. So the class rework changes are currently still scheduled to become playable in the later half of Season 3. Of course, we don't know when Season 3 is actually beginning, but they do say they're going to keep us updated. I don't think these things are set in stone yet. There may be some more changes, but this is looking quite cool. I'm honestly looking forward to see how this class system plays out. Now, speaking of Season 3, Temporal found something interesting in the game files today, but he won't tell us what it is. So he tweeted this out earlier saying, a short statement regarding Season 3. You'll be able to discover a lot of info on the next season just by playing the game. So similar to the crates and the cards that were teased during Season 1 for Season 2. You guys remember the dark market boxes, right, where you could unlock that player card? Well, that's what's going to be happening for Season 3 as well. And he says, I've decided to not spoil these things and wait for the community to finish the journey. So I think he just wants them to figure it out by themselves. The question is though, are these things, these presumably items in the game right now? Can we find them? Or are they going to be put in a patch closer to the Season 3 release date? So let me know if you do see anything out of the ordinary down below in the comments, guys. I haven't noticed anything, but then again, I've only played a couple of rounds on Orbital. It's kind of hard getting into a round there since it's also mixed in with Stranded and the Renewal rework at the moment, but it wouldn't surprise me if they put in some new little Easter eggs since they have made a new map rework. Alright, I'm going to leave it at that, guys. Thank you very much for watching the video. Leave your thoughts down below, as always, and I'll see you guys in the next one.